The gravel crunched under my tires as I pulled off the interstate, the late summer sun dipping low over the rolling hills of eastern Oregon. It was August 15, 2024, and I'd been gone for a month, chasing deer through the Achoco Mountains with my cousin. No phone, no internet, just the whisper of wind through ponderosa pines and the crack of a campfire. I was itching to get back to my 150-acre spread outside Primeville, picturing my weathered gatepost and maybe a stray dog sniffing around. What I didn't expect was a line of polished Range Rovers and Teslas choking the dirt road to my property, a velvet rope strung across my driveway, and a valet in a cheap tux waving cars into my pasture like it was some high roller gala. My gut twisted. Had I missed a turn? Or was this some kind of sick prank? I eased my pickup forward, squinting at the scene. White event tents dotted my fields, a stage was propped on my front porch, and folks in linen suits and oversized sunglasses milled around with flutes of sparkling wine, like they were at a vineyard soiree instead of my damn ranch. A banner snapped in the warm breeze, Clearview Community Preservation Auction. Auction. My blood ran cold. Then I saw her Marissa Hale, the HOA's self-appointed empress, standing center stage in a sharp emerald blazer, her blonde hair pulled tight, a microphone in one hand and a survey map in the other. Paso 12, she purred, her voice dripping with that polished charm she'd honed at every town hall meeting. Features a year-round creek, perfect for sustainable development. Bidding starts at $60,000. Do I hear 65? That's when I slammed the truck into park, right on my own lawn, and stepped out. What in God's name are you doing on my land? Every head swiveled. The jazz trio by the tent faltered, notes dying midair. Marissa froze, her smile flickering like a bad bulb. "Oh, Nathan," she said, syrupy sweet. "You're back early." I took a step toward the stage, boots sinking into the grass I'd mowed myself. "You're selling my ranch?" "On my porch." While I was gone. She waved a manicured hand at two burly guys in black polos labeled HOA security. "Please escort this trespasser off the premises," she said, eyes locked on mine. "This is a private event, and he's not invited." I backed a laugh, sharp enough to cut through the murmurs. "Trespasser. On my own property. Marissa, have you lost your damn mind?" The bigger goon stepped forward, chest puffed. "Sir, this is HOA-controlled land until further notice." Step back. My hand twitched toward my pocket, not for a gun, but my phone. Dead, of course. Perfect. Before I could say another word, Marissa pulled out her own phone and dialed with theatrical precision. "Yes, I'd like to report a trespasser, possibly armed, making threats," she said, her gaze boring into me with a venom that made my skin crawl. "He's claiming to be the property owner." Sheriff's deputies rode up in under 8 minutes, lights flashing. I showed them my driver's license, explained I'd inherited this land from my dad, who got it from his dad. But the deputy, a tired-looking guy with a clipboard, just shook his head. "Sir, there's a deed dispute on file at the county. Without current ownership papers, we can't remove these folks. You need to file with the court." Marissa's smug nod behind him nearly made me lose it. She even had the nerve to wiggle her fingers in a little wave as I climbed back into my truck. I drove a half-mile down the road, parked in a turnout where I could still see the ranch through a stand of junipers, and sat there, engine off, watching. Marissa didn't know who she was messing with. I wasn't just some rancher with a shotgun and a grudge. For 15 years, I'd been an investigator with the IRS Criminal Investigation Division, dismantling Ponzi schemes, busting offshore tax havens, and sending CEOs to federal lockup. If Marissa thought she could steal my legacy with a clipboard and a smile, she was about to learn how wrong she was. Through binoculars, I clocked every face at that auction bidders, HOA cronies, and the suit signing papers under my old cottonwood tree. Something was off. The way Marissa moved, all confidence and no caution, screamed fraud. I could feel it in my bones. This wasn't just about money. This was personal. The Hale and Carver families had been at each other's throats since the 80s. My dad, Jacob Carver, owned half the valley back then, land passed down from his grandfather. Marissa's dad, Randall Hale, ran a crooked real estate outfit that imploded after he got caught selling the same parcel to 4 different buyers. My dad blew the whistle, and the fallout was legendary front-page news, lawsuits, Randall's name dragged through the mud. He died during the investigation, and Marissa's mom fled town in disgrace. Marissa clawed her way back, becoming HOA president and wrapping her bitterness in a glossy veneer of respectability. I just never thought she'd come for my land to settle a 40-year-old score. The next morning, I hit the county recorder's office. The clerk, a nervous kid named Ethan, gave me a weird look. "You hear about the trust transfer?" My stomach dropped. "What transfer?" He hesitated, then whispered, "Someone filed a claim last week. Said the property was abandoned. HOA stamp on it. Abandoned. I'd been gone 30 days. That's not abandonment, that's a vacation." Ethan showed me the paperwork. A third-party trust company had been granted temporary stewardship due to neglect and no intent to return. The signatures. Not mine. Sloppy, uneven, with a middle initial I hadn't used since high school. I called Lauren, an old colleague from my IRS days who still had a badge and a knack for sniffing out scams. "This is enough for a fraud inquiry," she said after I laid it out. "You sure you didn't sign anything? Email, text, nothing?" I snorted. "Not a chance." "And Lauren, it's Marissa Hale. You remember her dad's case?" A long pause. "Huh. Oh, she's playing dirty." I dig into the clerk's filings. "You start collecting every scrap of paper with your name on it." Back home, I tore through 6 months of HOA notices I'd ignored. Memos I never got, votes I never took, and one gem, a letter claiming I'd given conditional proxy to Hale Legacy Partners to manage my finances. The signature was a laughable fake. Then I found their website, sleek and professional, with a PDF titled Carver Ranch Redevelopment Plan. My land was carved up into lots, labeled Phase 1, Hale Vista Preserve. They'd even hired surveyors and appraisers, one invoice noting interior access to my house. Someone had walked through my home while I was gone. That wasn't just fraud. That was violation. My dad's old security system gave me the first real break. A camera tucked in a fake owl nest by the driveway caught 2 HOA security guys loading boxes into an SUV, one holding what looked like my laptop case. Another clip showed Marissa strolling my property with a wine glass, pointing at my barn like she was planning to turn it into a yoga studio. She didn't know she was on tape. That was her first mistake. Lauren called later. "The signatures don't match county records. One's definitely left-handed." "I'm right-handed. Always have been." "We can open a civil case, maybe criminal," she said. "But Marissa's moving fast. Be ready." I was. I dealt with cartel fronts and hedge fund crooks, but this was different. This was my home, my blood, my dirt. And Marissa was about to find out what happens when you poke a man who knows how to hit back. Lauren showed up that night, her SUV bouncing down my back road. She didn't waste time, diving into the forged trust documents I'd printed. "This is amateur," she muttered, holding up a power of attorney form. "Half this legalese is gibberish." I poured her coffee. "She's not going for legal. She's going for speed." Lauren nodded. "Public perception over proof. Bold move." We mapped it out, my absence, the fake filings, the auction. She flagged the name I'd missed: Elliot Vance, Marissa's business partner, a disgraced attorney who dodged charges for title fraud in Nevada. Marissa had chosen her accomplice well, but not well enough. At the county clerk's office the next day, Lauren's badge got us into the records room. The transfer packet was a 70-page mess of forged signatures and vague promises about community revitalization. One line stood out: property deemed inactive per HOA Clause 19.4. Lauren grinned. "That clause doesn't exist." Then we found the kicker. Marissa had taken a $320,000 loan from a sketchy bank called Pacific Crest Ventures, using my ranch as collateral before the fake trust was filed. She was flipping my land to cover her debts, and the auction was a Hail Mary to make it stick. Lauren filed an emergency injunction to freeze all sales tied to my property. It'd take 48 hours to process, but it bought us time. I went back to the ranch with a long-lens camera and a bag of old IRS surveillance gear, motion sensors, audio box, the works. That night, as Marissa's tents glowed with string lights, I hid near the old pump house and recorded everything. Marissa met Vance under the cottonwood. "If we don't sell 4 lots by Friday, we're sunk," he hissed. "This isn't my vendetta, Marissa." Vendetta. That word hit like a bullet. This wasn't just greed. This was revenge for my dad's whistleblowing, for her family's ruin. I didn't sleep. I watched, waited, and jotted down every license plate that rolled through my gate. By dawn, I'd nailed a sign to my fence in bold red paint, under federal review, title fraud investigation. Cars started turning around. Marissa's morning brunch had a funeral vibe, her fake smile cracking as guests whispered and left. I texted her from a banner, "Sell a felony lately." No reply, but she stopped waving to the crowd. By noon, I'd rented a billboard on Highway 26, buying HOA land. Check the deed first. Petty. Sure. Effective. Hell yes. Local gossip exploded, and Lauren leaked the story to a reporter who hated HOAs. The headline, "Ex-IRS agent alleges HOA land grab," went viral in our county. Marissa's legal team fired back with a cease and desist, accusing me of defamation and trespassing. I pinned it to my sign with a note, "Keep sending paper. I've got the truth." That night, I turned my old irrigation shed into a war room, setting up a projector from my IRS days. We had footage of Marissa's auctions, her chats with Vance, and a slide deck tracing her loan fraud. My plan, a public screening during her Friday finale. Lauren helped splice it into a 3-minute gut punch raw, undeniable, narrated by Marissa's own lies. "You sure about this?" she asked. I nodded. "She's playing to the crowd. I'm giving them the real show." Friday came like a storm brewing. Marissa's event was a spectacle: brass band, gold ribbons, a floral arch screaming legacy to life. But the crowd was thin. The billboard, the article, my signage spooked her buyers. Lauren had subpoenaed the notary who stamped the fake power of attorney and a Pacific Crest rep, both at the auction under false pretenses. At 5 p.m., Marissa took the stage, voice smooth as silk. "Today, we build a future together." That's when my barn wall lit up. The projector roared to life, blasting Marissa's voice, "If we don't sell 4 lots by Friday, we are sunk." The crowd turned. Phones came out. Vance froze. The screen showed her forged signature next to mine, the loan docs listing my ranch as collateral, and a clip of her sneering, "Once we control the story, we control the land." The final frame, her shaking Vance's hand, grinning like she'd won. Then, darkness. Murmurs turned to shouts. Buyers stormed off. One guy chucked his wine glass at Vance's feet. Marissa screamed, "This is a setup." Doctored footage. But no one cared. Lauren stepped up, envelope in hand. "Marissa Hale, this is a notice of investigation from the DA. Retain counsel immediately." A deputy blocked Vance's exit. Marissa dropped her mic, the thud echoing like a gavel. Her empire was dust. We stayed as the tents came down, rain spitting from a gray sky. Lauren glanced at me. "Think she'll fight?" I shook my head. "She might try, but she's finished. No one trusts her now. The land was mine again, legally, forever." I packed up the projector, the weight of victory settling in my chest. The next week, the DA filed charges. Marissa took a plea, 3 felonies, 10 years probation, no HOA rolls ever, and full restitution. Vance quit his firm. The bank ate the loan. The HOA collapsed, replaced by a transparent co-op. Neighbors started dropping by, not for drama, but for pie, for handshakes, for respect. I didn't need their votes. I'd earned their eyes. One morning, I walked the fence line, soaking my boots. I replaced my granddad's faded sign with a new one: "This land doesn't need bidders, just keepers." It wasn't poetry, but it was truth. Later, I started a fund Hold Your Ground for folks blindsided by paperwork predators. If this could happen to me, a guy who'd audited cartels, it could happen to anyone. A month later, a letter came. No return address, just Marissa's scrawl: "You didn't have to destroy me." No signature, just an M. I burned it in the fire pit and watched the ashes scatter. Some fights end with silence, and that's enough. So, what would you do if you came home to find your life on the auction block? Would you fight with lawyers, or would you burn it all down like I did? Was Marissa a villain, or just a woman chasing ghosts? And what's the line between justice and revenge? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe if you got more stories where this came from, and trust me, the drama never sleeps.